Student-run OU Nightly Sports, quote, "We're another year in establishing our standards and our culture and our values. That matters. I wasn't like Deion and give guys a bunch of pink slips. I gave guys 12 months of grace," end quote. Dean?
You know, intentions, I think, innocent enough. It'd be one thing if the coach only made this one pink slip comment, but he repeated it. So the Deion flap comes on the heels, making it worse, of Mario Cristobal and Miami fans being livid about Venables' less than flattering comments about their losses. John, I have three thoughts. Number one, Venables is a decent person and did not intend to make news and disparage others. Two, got to be careful. It's easy to leave yourself open for critics after losing 7 games in year one. And number three, he'd do himself and others a favor, many in the media, by shortening answers and comments. Being passionate and articulate doesn't make 5-minute answers appropriate. But we've all done it. Go off on a tangent and can't find a way to stop. But it would help a lot to simply use periods to end sentences much sooner.
You know, strategically, Dean, from this standpoint, with the way recruiting is so uncertain, with the transfer portal and everything, there's a chance that maybe a message was being sent that if guys, you want self-confident guys, you want the best guys you can, but you also want them to feel a certain sense of security. Yeah. And maybe that message was being passed along. Yeah. So. Could be. Well, Venables snagged a big fish Friday in recruiting. It came down to USC and OU for the nation's #1 ranked running back in the 247 or 24/7 sports composite, Taylor Tatum. The Longview, Texas 200-pounder, first top-ranked running back to commit to the Sooners since Adrian Peterson, the Sooners' 15th commitment overall. He'll play baseball as well at OU and is good enough to be drafted. The baseball part of the equation gave OU a big advantage.
I think, you know, some schools wouldn't let me. So I think, you know, some of the bigger schools that people think a #1 running back would go to weren't on my list. So I think, you know, making sure that coaches knew that and I, you know, keep on chasing my dreams no matter what, I think that was a vital part in my recruitment.
It's a pretty big deal. You know, the Athletic reports that Gavin Sawchuk is OU's only top 100 running back in the last 10 recruiting cycles. I didn't know that, but it's been a position of strength of Oklahoma football forever. Now, on paper, OU will roll into its first SEC season with a highly coveted backfield. I mean, Sawchuk, Tatum, and quarterback Jackson Arnold, all those guys. He was, Arnold, of course, last year's National Player of the Year. Earlier in the week, OU and receivers coach Emmett Jones got a 5th wide receiver commit, 4-star Zion Raggins. 5'7", 153, speed demon, shows OU over Florida State and Tennessee. SEC sources tell me Georgia kind of backed off of Raggins, but on him earlier. Ranked the 19th and 34th receiver by different services. OU's first commit from Georgia since Jaden Hazelwood. And despite several major challenges moving into the SEC, Brent Venables is luring an impressive group of 4- and 5-star recruits everywhere except defensive linemen. But OU will change that immediately if they get 2 elite prospects. Williams Waneri from Lee Summit, Missouri, is the nation's #1 overall prospect, seriously interested in OU, as is 5-star David Stone, who has Oklahoma ties. Venables is simply an extraordinary recruiter and always has been.
Well, as far as recruiting rankings in the 2024 class, this from 247 or 24/7 Sports, they change it in their own office, how they say it from time to time. OU and Texas ahead of the rest of the Big 12. And, of course, they'll be in the SEC. Right now, Texas Tech and Cincinnati 1 and 2 with 18 commits each. West Virginia, Kansas, UCF, Iowa State, OSU currently 7th in the 24 class, 13 commitments. The latest is Luke Webb, a 6'3", 265-pound defensive end from Deer Park, Texas. The Cowboys with 3 4-stars in the class so far, with more to come. All right, after the break, we talk basketball. The Thunder reward Mark Daigneault with a contract extension, plus the Big 12 announces conference opponents. And later, we play those percentages.
Report Card, sponsored by your Oklahoma Ford dealers.